And here we are, DJ E-Rock in the building. Box Kev is somewhere. I don't know where he is. He's just, he's in and out, but it's all good because guess what? The podcast continues. The show goes on. This is just what we do. This is what I do, and I do it for y'all, all right? Big guest in the building right now, and this is going to be a very educational conversation, not only for me, but for a lot of people that are watching and that are listening to this, whether they're listening on Real 92.3 or Real 103.9. My man, Ice, a.k.a. Ice Bagz, is in the building, the founder of, it's a Kanpai Pandas, right?
That's right.
And that is an NFT series, I believe. Tell me more about that real quick.
Correct. So it's an NFT series where we do, real life experiences. So you have a digital token that represents membership into the club. And then we've got access to, example, I'll throw out a few. We've got, suite at Allegiant Stadium for the Raiders for 15 years.
Wow.
So we've got all, the football games. You get 10 games a year plus playoffs. We pray that they're at home. We've got, all the concert tickets. We do UFC suite boxes. And then we're throwing Pandamonium this Saturday, which is a huge concert at downtown Las Vegas Event Center.
And that's for anybody that has the actual Kanpai Panda NFT.
Right.
Correct. Now, I don't necessarily understand the NFT world as well as someone like yourself. For someone like myself or someone that's watching right now, what exactly is an NFT?
So NFT means non-fungible token. It is simply a digital asset on the blockchain that can't be replicated. So,
and we're talking about crypto, right? Cryptocurrency,
yeah,
correct?
For sure, for sure. So it's a digital token that represents, whatever you want it to be on the blockchain. So for example, with ours, it's a membership pass. The bigger projects like you've heard of, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example. It's an NFT project. It's taken off mainstream. It's got a valuation of multiple billions. They use it for IP rights, for the owners. So for example, everybody that owns a Kanpai Panda or a Bored Ape, they have the IP rights to that, certain particular ape/panda, whatever it may be. They can use that for future consumer, use, make money off it, etc. Whether it be branding, movie rights, digital rights, whatever that may be.
Wow. So there's like a lot of benefits. Like a whole plethora of benefits to owning this type of NFT, correct?
For sure. And if you just look at it in the most simplistic form, it is simply a digital, ticket that's on the blockchain. And it can't be replicated. It can be easily sold, traded, passed. So, for example, with what we're doing, which is real life, events. Instead of if I'm doing a ticket to a football game, I'd have to go onto StubHub and try to sell that ticket, and then I've got to transfer that ticket. It's a whole ordeal, right? With mine, I can literally list it on OpenSea, which are one of the other platforms where you can buy NFTs. It can be done in 2 seconds. Done. The transfer happens, automatically, and I'm out. So,
wow, really?
Yeah. Big
it's
difference.
Just that easy.
It's that easy.
So what inspired you to get into the NFT world?
Yeah,
where did the journey start, to where we're at today? The panda movement, every time I tweet about this, every time I remember I put up, you actually sent me my own Kanpai Panda.
Yeah.
And I posted it, and dude, I got at least 60, one night I got 60 tweets, and then the next day I got 100 tweets. So but what inspired you to get behind this and tell me the journey on how you've built this thing up?
How far back we going?
Hey, we can go as far back as you want, bro.
All right,
hey, the podium is yours. Come on, man.
Yeah. So I come from the traditional business world. So real estate, restaurants, that's kind of my bread and butter. In 18, I started in crypto, started dabbling, lost a bunch of money trading, kind of like everybody else when they first get in.
That's 2018, correct?
Yeah, okay, 2018.
Cool. Not when you're 18 years old.
No. I was like, brother, how old do you think I am?
Hey,
Jesus.
man. Hey, you don't look a day over 21, bro. It's all good.
Flack for this, so... Yeah, so in 18, I kind of jumped in and went full time. So I still got my businesses running today, but in 18, I really went full time. I started really digging in, making connections within the crypto sphere, and that's what got me involved originally. It was fun, it was exciting, it was something new. I can only do so many real estate deals. I can only do so many restaurant deals before it gets boring, right? I just turned 40 years old. I threw my banger here in Vegas.
That was a great night.
It was what a
That
night.
was a
What
great night.
Fucking
Hello.
epic night. It was.
Yes.
It was a night. So I just had my 40th in March. Like I want something like challenging, fun, that exciting. And so crypto gives me that opportunity. So when in April, when the opportunity arose to kind of get involved in this project and build something that I'm kind of familiar with and enjoy anyway, I jumped on it. So, I was like, all right, well, why don't we take something digital and then bring it into the real world space, right? Because nobody had really done that yet, and still haven't. I mean, there's projects out there that have done, thrown parties and things like that, but they haven't done it on a large scale as far as, box suites everywhere and season tickets at NFL games. As far as I know, we're the first project to do a box suite at any major stadium.
That's massive.
It's massive.
That's massive.
Bro, it's massive. Like, if you think about it, especially Allegiant, right, in Las Vegas, if you look at like the roster of companies, I mean, they're not going to give it to you, but if you look at the roster of companies, if you walk around the stadium and see whose plaques are on the door, bro, it's like, it's Wynn, it's MGM, it's fucking Microsoft, it's Pepsi, it's Coca-Cola, right? Like it's mega corporations, or it's large Vegas-based companies that are using it for client acquisition or whatever that may be. For an NFT project to jump in and have that opportunity is huge. It's huge.
That's, I mean, that just gave me a whole level of perspective that I've never really truly understood. I mean, so like, connecting the real world to, and this is just me being like, I'm very green, like I said, with the NFT world, but like, they call this like what, utility or something like that. There's a utility aspect to this, to this NFT, correct?
Yeah. So some projects, IP is the utility, right? Or sometimes there's just not utility, and it's a fucking gamble, right? Like people are just in it to, like, almost like a crypto coin. They're just flipping them until it gets old, and then the project dies off. Utility can be a multitude of different things. What we choose with our utility is like in real life experiences. So stuff that people really can't get their hands on a regular basis. So, we're leveraging buying power in a sense. So for example, I mean, a Raiders box suite for a season is expensive as hell.
Oh yes.
It's about like 400 G's a year, right? So yeah. So for somebody to do that, you gotta be a corporation, really, or you gotta be really wealthy and love the fucking Raiders. One of the two. So with us, right? So with us, we say, okay, we're gonna buy this box suite, and then we're gonna let the members have an opportunity to come to individual games, right? And so then it almost pulls that buying power and then brings it down to something that's unattainable to an attainable price point. And we do that with all the stuff. We did UFC 276. We did UFC 277 in Dallas. We're looking at, all of the UFCs at this point. We've got Bad Bunny and Diplo and SoFi coming up in LA.
Wow.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of fire shit coming up. We've got a Magic
this
Dragons.
is all attainable through the NFT, correct?
This is already booked, set, and done. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so
wow.
we started in April. We're going to do roughly 30 events in 2022, starting in April.
Wow.
Yeah. Next year, 2023.
That's insane.
Yeah, insane. Next year, 2023, we're looking at doing 45 events roughly with like 10 internationally.
Wow. Really? Internationally?
Internationally.
And then all these benefits, I mean, you obviously have access to them if you have a Kanpai Panda.
Right.
But you're also attaining equity with this piece of art, correct?
Right.
With the NFT, right?
Yeah. So if you look at it as a whole, you've essentially you essentially own one. The collection is a total of 10,000, right? So you've got your access with your one, but then you also have 1/10,000th ownership in where the company takes itself. Right. So as the value grows, as the demand grows, and more people want in to these events, like Pandamonium that's coming up on Saturday is one example. The more people,
and that's invite only. You have to have one of these NFTs. Like you can't just walk up and buy a ticket. Like you can't even just get in. Like no, it's not happening.
No.
Like this is literally, you got to be a part of the squad.
It's almost like a corporate party. somewhat similar.
I would
right?
say it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're either in or you're out, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, as the demand grows, then the value should follow. So I don't want to talk about like the price point of where we're at
For
or
sure.
where it may go. Because
Yeah.
honestly, to me, I don't give a shit. I look at it like, look, I'm the CEO of this thing. My job is to steer the ship, to do the things that I think are going to help the project, to get into the events that I think that people are going to want to go to, and then the value will accrue from there, whatever that may be.
That's incredible. This is I love this conversation because I'm learning something completely new that I'm like, wow, like I'm just fascinated.
Yo, and you're the first person that ever put my name and technical like in the same fucking sentence, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a technical guy, man. I'm an innovative guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a good understanding of what
For
we're
sure,
doing,
yeah.
right? But like my thing is innovation. My thing is pushing things forward, like building teams. That's what I'm really good
Visionary.
at. Visionary. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm good at. That's what I've been doing for, since I was 25 years old when I started my first business.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So tell me about this event. You touched upon it for a little bit, Pandamonium. It's a pretty amazing lineup, and like we said, it would be very similar to like a private corporate party. Like you have to be somewhat like in the squad by having an NFT, and having an NFT of or owning one of these is kind of like having shares in the company, I guess. You
Yeah.
know. So that's kind of like how I could probably understand it and explain it good. But tell me more about this event and why you wanted to go so big, because this lineup is insane. You know what I mean? And,
No doubt.
and by the way, I am very, very honored and completely flattered that that you wanted me to be on the lineup as well. So I want to thank you and give you your flowers, for that. But tell me why this event was something that was just on the horizon. Like, what inspired it? Like, what went into it? And what made you go like, you know what? I want to do something completely out of the fucking world and bring it to Vegas and give it to the people.
Yeah. So my whole thing it started was like, all right, let's throw a party, because with NFTs, especially when you have larger collections, people don't go that big, because honestly, there's not a lot of spaces that hold that many people to start with. Mm-hmm. Like you got a collection of 10,000, you got 10,000 people coming. Like there's only a handful of places in Vegas and in the world where you can throw this, whether it be a fucking auditorium, an arena, an outdoor event, something like that. Like you can't do it in Miami. You can't do it really in New York, unless you go and rent out an arena. So of course we picked Vegas, because Vegas is kind of where we started, the whole thing.
For sure.
My whole thing was like all my connections are in Vegas. I can have insider access in Vegas. I can provide that to the other people. Right. And that's one of the huge benefits. So then I was like, all right, well, let's throw a party and we'll set it, in August. And it started off like us kicking around ideas. I think my homie Travis.
Of course.
Yeah. So Travis,
Mr. Rigo, how we feeling? I know he's watching this right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's going on, Trav? What's going on?
Yeah. So Travis is my boy. When this whole thing kicked off, he was the first one I called. So I'm like, yo, hey, this is what I'm doing. Would you like to be involved? If not, I totally understand. And he's like, nah, if you're running this thing and you want to do it, like I'm 100% in. Got Mikey B in.
Shout out Mikey B.
Yeah, a couple other people. But people that have taken care of me in Vegas on like a whole nother level that most people don't get to experience. Mm-hmm. That's who I brought in first. So we set up Pandamonium. It didn't start off this big in the beginning. But I'm kind of one of those guys that's like,
I know.
Either you go big or you go home, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's the way I do things. Sometimes it starts off a little smaller, like tonight. Like I'm like, yo, we're not going to go out tonight. I'm not drinking tonight. I'm going to go home and work out. I'm going to do this podcast. I'm going to go get a massage and be done. Now I've got 3 drinks in me. Now we're going to Javier's for dinner. And then Mikey's like, yo, I got a table lined up at such and such. And I'm like, fuck you, but I'm probably there. Right? Like typical fucking Vegas night. So
For sure.
Yeah. So this whole thing kicks off. Start calling to people, a few performers that I know. We locked down the downtown Las Vegas Event Center, which I'm sure you've been to. It's
sure,
phenomenal.
yeah. It's huge, yeah.
First class, like it's nice. And then we start talking about performers. And so I'm like, all right, well, how about this guy? How about this guy? Shout out to Dr. Fresh. He was the first one I reached out to. Real homie.
For sure.
He's done a couple of Panda events already.
Wow, okay.
Did my 40th here, did Bahamas with us. And he was like, man, I can't. I got a Canadian festival coming up. But here's a couple of people. So we got a hold of Wednesday. We got a hold of Bijou. My whole thing was like, I didn't want to make it too rap oriented, and I didn't want to make it too EDM oriented. And
something for everybody.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You know, and that's what I like too. Like if I'm going to sit here for a long time, like I want to hear some mix, right? I don't want to hear the same shit over
sure.
and over. And if and you know, Pandamonium starts at 6 p.m., ends at 1 a.m. Like that's a 7-hour. That's not a concert. That's a fucking festival.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's a big thing.
And it's private,
And it's private.
which is insanity. Like to say, like, you know, it's like, hey, look, like this is not an event you can just walk up to and get in. No, it's not. It's
no.
not at all.
And it's not like we just hired a feature, you know, to come and play for a party. Nah, we've got E-Rock, we've got Romeo, flying out my homie Ignite from the Bahamas.
Nice.
So he's opened up. He runs like all the major clubs in the
He
Bahamas.
plays at the SLS, correct?
SLS,
Yeah. I seen him on
Sky
Instagram
Bar,
the other day.
Sky Bar, and then he runs Bond, which is downstairs at Bahamar. But
Fire nightclub, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, Moneybag Yo opened up for him the other night, like Meek, like everybody.
That's
you know?
amazing.
So he was like, yo, he hit me up, and I'm like, here's what I'm doing. Would you like to be involved? He's like, dude, nobody in the Bahamas has ever even performed on this level.
Yeah.
Please. And I'm like, fuck it, let's go. So now Ignite's coming out. We've got Wednesday, Bijou. We've got Dr. Fresh is now coming in. We've got Dioro.
He got FOMO.
Right.
Dr. Fresh got FOMO.
Right.
It's like, hey,
100%.
man, I think I got to be there, bro.
Yeah, he's like, I thought about it. Nah.
Shout out Dr. Fresh, man.
Yeah,
that guy's a legend, by
He
the
is.
way.
He's the best. He
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Nah, his they had some Canadian festival that he was like, he tried to get out of it. Sorry, Canadian festival, whatever that was. But he tried to get out of it, couldn't, and then they canceled the thing. So he calls me immediately. He's like, yo, I'm in. I'm like, come down. Like, we'll make fucking room for you. Come down. So we got Fresh, we got Dioro coming in, and then we got Tyga and Rich the Kid. Like
That's insane.
that's what, eight
That's
performers in 7 hours.
How did I get on this lineup?
Right.
Jesus
I love you. 'Cause,
Christ.
Yo, I've been listening to you for years. Been
Man,
listening
my
to
guy.
you for years. For real.
My guy, man. My guy right here.
I've seen you at Light 25 times.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that, man. Oh, wow. That's flattering right there. Thank you. That means a lot
course.
to me.
Of course.
It means
Love
a
it.
lot to me.
So then we rented out Dre's After Hours. I was like, yo, this isn't enough. Hey, guys.
And we're not talking about like one room there and then
Nah.
like, you know, hey, you got to get past the rope, but you can get in on the. No. People, this is all private.
Yeah.
All not open to the public. Like you got to be down with the squad. You know what I mean? You got to have one of these NFTs. Like you got to, this is the benefit of having a Kanpai Panda. And that's what's mind blowing. So you to go on, you rented out Dre's
Yeah. So I was like,
on a Saturday night.
On a Saturday
On
night.
a Saturday
Yeah.
night.
In summer.
Where it's like people are just going to be going to this place in droves.
You know
and
that's
they're
happening.
like, what, you're closed? What? Well, yeah, my man is hosting, like, you know, his people downstairs.
you know that's going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
that place is going to be jam-packed all around the entrance, people trying to get in, and they're going to be like, sorry, it's closed.
That's
For a
insane.
fucking private party. So I was like, yeah, you know, we have a great lineup in 7 hours, and then the money that we spent on the fucking show itself at Pandamonium is gonna blow people's minds. Just the entrance, the decor, everything that we spent to set up Pandamonium itself it blows my mind. If it blows my mind, it's gonna blow most people's mind. I'll say
I
that.
mean, I'm already mind blown sitting
Yeah,
here, like,
so-
listening to you. So,
Yeah. So I was like, you know, that after a few phone calls, I'm like, you know, a few drinks, I'm like, that's not enough. We need to rent Dre's After Hours. So I called Mikey and Dustin over at Dre's, and I'm like, yo, I want to rent out, you know, After Hours. And they're like, all right, we'll do, you know, the whatever room off to the left and do this. And I'm like, nah, what are you talking about? And Dustin's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, no, the whole club.
wow.
He's like, you want to just shut down the club? And I said, yes. So he's like, all right. And I was like, I want Romeo playing. I want Fresh playing. I want this guy playing. Like,
I told Mikey,
carrying
I'm
his mo-
probably going to drop a set at Dre's
do
After
it,
Hours.
please.
First time ever.
please.
And I'm going to do it.
Oh, you hadn't done it yet?
I've never done
then
Dre's
you're
before.
definitely
Never
in.
done Dre's
You're
before.
definitely in. Well, we're having dinner with Romeo later.
Yep.
So we're going to tell him E-Rock's dropping a fucking set.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
That's crazy, man. But you know what I love, though, about this whole entire thing is, like, you know, how this comes full circle and how your experiences here in Las Vegas, like, being hosted by some of the biggest hosts in the, in the city, and having that that 5-star experience, you know, and how that inspired you to, you know, be a part of this project and bring that, like, you know, benefit to it. It's like, hey, look, man, this is something that I experience, like, you know, on a regular. I would like you guys to experience this too, and this is how. That's incredible.
That's what it's all about.
I mean, it's giving back.
Yeah, no,
It's amazing.
That's what the whole thing is about. Like, so Travis, for example, I've known this cat for a decade, right? Travis was a regular host when I came in. I was playing $50 a hand blackjack. We just became friends, right? Travis made his come up. He's high up in his company. Like, I'm playing a little more than $50 a hand in blackjack now. That was like, you know, we came up together, right? And so I appreciate that. But then, like, you know, I mean, you being around Vegas a long time, you know that opens up a lot of fucking doors.
Absolutely.
I mean, now it's like, and then I've had Mikey. I've been friends with Mikey for years, and it's like, yo, like, I want to go here. You know, and he's like, all right, well, now I got you the best table at fucking 2 Chainz or Future or Dre's After Hours or whatever. Like, we just walk in the back door, and I'm like, all right, what if we could take this experience? Because I bring in rich crypto friends into Vegas and party with them. Like, my 40th was a great example. And all these guys that have all this money were literally blown the fuck away when they came to my 40th because of the access that we had throughout Vegas.
You were completely in my head right there. I was like, the access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything. That's in any major city. It's all about who you know, who you run with, and the access, right? I mean, that's anywhere in the world. On Vegas, that's fucking on steroids.
Oh yeah,
because there's so much money flowing out here. You got New York flying in, you got LA flying in. Like, everybody's coming in, they're blowing money on the tables, they're blowing money on nightclubs. But when you do it on a consistent basis over, 10, 12 years, and you have the right people and you can provide that access, and I'm like, okay, how can I relay this access to others? And we figured out a way to do it.
That's incredible because, I feel like there's like a lot of people, that even reach out to me that are very like, they get intimidated, about their trip to Vegas. Like, they don't know who to call, they don't know where to go, they don't know what's popping, this and that. But it's like, you're kind of like, like almost like, the savior, to like a lot of those open-ended questions, and people have a lot of open-ended questions when they come to this city because, like I said, when you said that, hey, it's about who you know and what you've done and where you've been, it's on steroids. Like, that's a very intimidating thing,
Extremely. Like, I mean, I was, years ago, it was like, you're a little bit starstruck. You don't know which direction to turn. You see long lines everywhere. You see money being thrown around. You get intimidated. But after a few years and the right connections, it's like, all right, now you're the one doing that. And then it's like, okay, well, how can I take that experience that I have, because it's spectacular. I mean, when I look back and think of the things that I've done and experience, like, it blows my mind. And then they're amazing memories, right? And then all of a sudden I'm able to provide that to other people just through a membership club. Like, let's fucking do it. Why not?
That's crazy. That's amazing. That's a beautiful thing to hear.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's like giving back. That's just amazing. That's amazing right there. What's in the future for I mean, I know you touched upon, like, how many events you have. You got a couple of international things. Are there any other things that you can privy us on about, like, the Kanpai Panda NFT?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're looking at merch. That's always one of the big, like, utilities, that come out of NFT projects in general. They're like, oh, here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop merch. First thing is we're going to drop merch.
And for those tapping in, utility is perk.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, well, who really gives a shit about shitty merch? So I'm not going to launch merch right out the gate. I'm going to launch spectacular events out of the gate, and then I'm going to then think about merch. So now we're looking at merch. We're talking to a couple of guys here locally, like streetwear artists that are well known, and we're going to collab. So, when we drop our merch line, it's going to be with somebody that A, has a fucking fire, fashion style, has been doing it, has been in the game, has the connections, and somebody that has a passion for our project is the main thing. Like, anybody I do business with, and Travis can tell you this, like, anybody that's been involved with me in just a general sense, I get shit thrown at me all the time. Like, I get athletes coming, I get celebrities coming, I get these Instagram, TikTok influencers coming. And they're like, yo, we want to work with your project. We want to do this. And I'm super like, let's wait a minute. Let's wait a minute. Let's let this thing grow a bit, because I want somebody that I like doing business with.
For sure.
Right? I want to like what they represent, and then I want to know that they're down for the project for the foreseeable future.
No, absolutely. That's very important,
Yeah.
because businesses, granted they're businesses, but the people, behind the business, that's everything. Obviously attitudes play into that, and the passion that someone will have behind, what your narrative or what your what your mission is very important. Are they going to run through the wall for it? That I feel that 110%. That's how I am with this podcast, how I am with the radio show. It's important to have the right people attached to your business, your brand, and it could determine the future.
Look, that's how I am with my friends. If you aren't down for me, then I'm not down for you, and we'll find that out over a period of time, and we can either stay down together or we can part ways. It's really simple. I'm old enough that I've been through this fucking rodeo over and over, so I'm the same way with business.
Me too,
That's my money, right? That's my money. I want to make sure that I'm not sitting here throwing you $5,000 to do a tweet and walk away. I don't give a shit about your audience, in that manner. If I want your audience, I want it to be something where you genuinely care about the project and want to rep it, and then you really want to bring your audience into it for that reason, not because I gave you $5,000.
No, for sure.
I'll go throw that on.
Absolutely.
I'd rather go throw that on a hand of blackjack and have a chance of doubling it to 10 and be done.
Wow. Wise words right there. I love that. I've always whenever I've had these conversations about NFTs and stuff, they've always, I'm obviously very big in the music space. I've been doing the music industry thing for, God, man, quite a long time, man. I don't mean to date myself. I'll probably bleep this out, but I'm 42 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I got on the radio when I was 15 years old in San Francisco.
Is that legal?
I don't know, to be honest.
Can we check that? Can we check and see if that was legal?
To be honest, probably not. But that was my first job, so... But anytime that, regardless of that, anytime I've had these NFT conversations, there's always been somebody that's brought up you know what, you should put out an NFT with a record or something like that. How do you see NFTs and music merging down the line? Because I hear that conversation quite a lot. Is that something that you would be probably interested in doing, or? Yeah,
100%. I think music NFTs, I think there's a big market for it in the future. Mm-hmm. When you start to look at Spotify numbers, it's something absolutely absurd, 0.00001 cent, per listen or some shit. So really nobody makes any money off of it unless you throw out
not at all
absolute, bangers, 100 million hits or something, listens.
Yeah.
So I've had these conversations with big artists, and I think music NFTs is where there's going to be a lot of money over the coming years, because it essentially puts, the project, say you're going to drop a new album, right? You say, okay, I'm going to release X amount of copies of this album, right? And it's going to be X dollar value per copy, or it's going to be, I'll sell the song and I'll chop that up into pieces, or maybe I'll just chop the album into individual songs and sell those songs. Now it gives the IP rights, if you want, it gives the IP rights to whoever purchased that to now make money on it, right? So the value then goes up, and it goes up exponentially versus what you're going to get off of a Spotify or what iTunes or whatever it is. It takes the money out of the agent's hand and puts it back into the artist's hand.
Wow.
It's coming. It's coming.
This is
and I've had some in-depth. I've had some in-depth conversations. I've talked to.
We might need to talk off air.
Yeah, let's.
We might need to talk off air.
That.
I've got a couple ideas and a couple friends that I've had these conversations.
Let's do that.
With, so,
hey, homie, will you hit Mikey B and tell him I need a Jack and Coke, please?
Oh, they can hear you.
Mikey, Jack and Coke. Perfect.
Shout out Mikey
That's
B.
That's way easier.
That's my guy right there, man. I love Mikey. Mikey and I have a great history. When I first started at Light, it's actually crazy. He knew I was a big Warrior fan. So the first thing that Mikey ever said to me, he comes up to me in the DJ booth and he just goes in my ear. He goes, "Lakers." That's my first Mikey B interaction ever. Yeah. And ever since then,
we've stuck around.
Oh, of course. Of course, man. He's one of the most solid guys, in the world. Travis, same thing too, So,
yeah.
These guys are definitely the best at not only what they do, but they hold great moral values with what they do as well. That's why I love these guys.
I'll just say this, in a town like Vegas, there's so many fucking snakes out here.
Oh, they're diamonds in the rough.
The people that are trying to take advantage of you and stuff. I just happened to get to know them, before everything popped off, before I had money, before they were really doing well. And so we had a bond there, and I just happened to get lucky and just have two of the best guys on the planet.
100%.
Legit.
So, aside to all of this business that, you got going on with the Kanpai Panda, with Pandamonium, with, building a lot of the, the utilities, AKA perks, of everything that comes with this. What do you do during your free time? Do you have any free time? It just sounds like, you just told me that you're doing 23 events next year. And I'm like,
yeah.
Where do you find time to sleep?
I do, man.
What do you do during your free time?
Look, I'm a family guy. I got 3 kids. I got 2 daughters, a son. Middle school. So I'm a family guy. If I'm home, I'm at the house. Right, I can come out here, throw the parties, do the events, do that kind of thing, live that Vegas lifestyle. But I can do that for 4 days, and I'm tapped out. I'm tapped out, dude. I'm done.
I live here now, so
I'm done.
I'm learning that the hard way.
I'm done. 4 days, and I'm done. 5 days, I'm probably over at the fucking general hospital, right? So I go home, I hang out with the family, I do my thing. My big thing is I love boating. I live in Florida, so I love to be on the water. That's a huge thing. You want to hear a fucking insane story that's going on right now?
That's why we're doing this episode, buddy. Yeah. Come on. We love crazy things.
All right. I'm currently training with Roy Jones Jr., and I'm going to be fighting in Dubai on November 13th.
Say that again?
Fighting on November 13th.
Boxing. And you're training with who?
Roy Jones Jr.
The
champ.
Wow.
Shout out Roy. I just got back from Tampa 3
Christ.
days ago.
Yeah.
Flew down to Tampa, trained with him and his team, went to a couple fights, and then flew back home, rested 2 days, and came out here.
Oh my God. And then and then what's the regimen with that?
Bro,
you see him how often? That's just
So it's 3 days a week. So Roy is born and bred Florida Gulf Coast guy. Never left. True to small town Florida, and I just live down the street from him, 40 minutes. And so when they brought me this opportunity, they're like, hey, we have these crypto fights. Last year was the first year they did it. So they joined up with the WBC last year. Amir Khan, promoted the whole thing. They had 5 or 6 WBC fights, including a title fight.
Yeah.
And then they paired it with crypto fights. So people that are popular on crypto Twitter or whatever it may be, right? So I went last year. It was fire. Had a great time. First time in Dubai. First time to this type of event. So when they hit me a month ago and they're like,
hey, you want to fight?
Hey, you want to fight? I'm like, in what scenario, right? I lived in Mexico for 5 years.
Yeah.
In my early 20s, I've been in plenty, right? But not with boxing gloves and rules. So apparently this is totally different according to Roy Jones Jr. I don't know.
The chaos is a little bit more controlled.
Yeah, right? So Roy says it's different, so I tend to believe him. So they hit me up, and I'm like, literally Sunday afternoon, my wife's doing some stuff around the house. I'd take a call. I'm like, hey, babe, I might fight in Dubai in November. And she just laughs at me. 5 minutes later, I take another call, and I'm like, hey, babe, I'm fighting in Dubai in November. She's like, only you. I was like,
wow.
All right. So literally next day, I pick up the phone. Go ahead.
So that is what you do during your free time?
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't?
Jesus. It's what the fuck am I doing with the 24 hours that I'm given a day? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But honestly, this project's taken up since April. It's taken up 90% of my time. I'm fortunate enough that I built good businesses that supply the income that I need to live on. That I don't have to manage a lot. I've got a bunch of family that runs it that I brought in and that kind of thing. So we do okay on that kind of stuff. And then this gives me the opportunity to really build something that I think has the potential to become a massive brand.
No, absolutely, and it's still a growing world, for that matter. Because I remember when I first heard about it, and I'll tell you a story. Shout out to my buddy Colin Comer. He actually was the first person to ever introduce me to crypto. And he was like, hey, buddy, do you know anything about Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatnot? And I was like, I have no idea about anything about that. He was like, look, I'm looking into this thing. It's called, or this coin, it's called Ethereum. Hey, if you got a little bit of money, dump it in and just don't look at it for a couple years and you'll thank me later. Sure enough, I look into it, I get frustrated on Coinbase. I'm trying to get my damn bank account, verified or whatever you got to do. And I lose patience and I lose I just lose momentum. I don't do it.
Whoops.
Yeah. Whoops. Months down the line, I got a buddy, right? I won't say his name on air. But he tells me, he's like, hey, we're in a limo in LA. I just moved to LA. We're in a limo. The most I'll say is we're on the way to his DJ gig. And he goes, hey, I'm going to dump like $30,000, in crypto and just not look at it. For a couple of years, he say, hey, look, if you have the opportunity to play with a little bit of money, hey, why not? Just do it, And I'm thinking maybe I'll drop 5 or 10 or something like that. Sure enough, same thing. I get on Coinbase again. I go through the process and I get frustrated. It takes me forever to get a call back on my bank account. I don't do it. Now this is when Ethereum was $127 a coin. What is Ethereum now?
Shit.
This is this story.
1700.
This story is 6 years old.
Yeah, I was about to say it was.
I was going to do $10,000 on Ethereum. And just literally just not look at it hey, look, I'm going to take a risk. All my friends are doing it, this and that. I'm not going to lie, I kind of fell for the hype a little bit. And I didn't want to miss out. But I didn't really understand it, And I think that's what, literally, when I got to the crossroads, I just didn't pull the trigger all the way. And then now, I'm even when they say, oh, well, it's down and this and that, it was $127 back then.
Yeah.
Per coin.
Yeah. I mean, it was down to $90 back in the COVID bottom.
Wow.
That was only 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. This shit went from, 1,000 something to $90 and then skyrocketed to what, 4,500, somewhere in that range.
So tell me I'm a bonehead without.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I thought you just said that.
I mean, bro,
you just said it.
Yeah. So that's been to the extent of my crypto experience.
Gotcha.
So for somebody that's watching right now, including myself, if we wanted to jump in, how do we do it?
Yeah.
What's some some good advice that you can give someone like myself? Hey, yo, you want to jump in? This is what I think you should do.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and call tops, call bottoms on stocks, crypto, any of that bullshit, right? Anything. Real estate, that's my main gig. And everybody in crypto comes to me and they're like, hey, I need some real estate advice. I'm like, perfect, shoot. And I would give the same advice for crypto. They're like, here's my thing is I want to upgrade, I can afford it, but I'm concerned about the overall environment and, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And I'm like, look, if it's something that you need, from a real estate perspective, if it's something that you need for your family, for your friends, buy. You're not gonna time a top. You're not gonna time a bottom. It is what it is. Over time, if you believe in it, it's gonna go up. Real estate's proven that. Crypto, to an extent, has proven that. Things like Ethereum, Bitcoin. That's probably the only two coins that I would say that have proven that over time.
127 a coin.
127 a coin.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and it's what now?
1,700, but it pulled back from 4,500. It was at $4,500.
I mean, even if I did that 127 a coin investment,
at 10 G's, that's at the top, that's almost 7 figures. You know what I mean? Yeah, still 6 figures right now.
Oh my God!
But here's the thing: is do we look back and in 5 years do we have this podcast and we go and you're looking at me and going, well, yeah. We had that podcast and it was 1,700 and I should have bought and now it's fucking 15 G's, right?
Yeah.
Do we have that conversation? Nobody knows, potentially. But my thing is I'm a gambler. I'm gonna take that bet.
Hey, you miss all the shots you don't take.
100%.
And there's a lot of truth to that.
100%.
A lot of truth to that. I'm big on taking the risk, but I want to make sure that I feel it. In my gut.
Yeah.
That I'm taking the right risk, So, but that gut feeling could be compiled of different feelings than what your gut feeling could be. You know what I mean? Mine could be maybe there's a reward here, and they're all different spaces than anything else.
Yeah.
So
I'd say this though, my advice for everybody, most of the people that I deal with, obviously, that want advice are younger, so they're like, what's that one thing that you can tell me? What should I bet on, at my age, whatever that may be, 25, 30, whatever it may be? My answer is very simple. Yourself. You bet on yourself first. right? Like whatever it may be, whether it's a DJ career, whether it's a real estate career, whether you want to be the best fucking chef on the planet, whether you want to play pro basketball, I don't give a shit. Whether you want to start any kind of business, you bet on yourself first. Then, if you've got extra money lying around at that point, then you can take some gambles on Ethereum and crypto and stocks and real estate and those other items. But like, why would you not bet on yourself first? Makes no sense to me.
It's very true. It's very true.
Like if I lose it all, and I have, like I've lost it all. I've gone back to zero and had to build back up, multiple times. I don't go, oh my God, I'm going to take this last $500 and gamble it on, Ethereum or real estate. I'm going to take that last $500. I'm going to fucking bet it on myself. I'm going to go turn that 500 into 5,000.
I love that.
That's the way it works. Like if you can't do that, then you don't even need to be thinking about like secondary investments.
There you have it, people. There you have it. Wise words. I mean, this has been
Usually I charge $99.99 a month for that.
That was wow. That even I'm moved. I mean, obviously before we pressed record. I had actually been going through a lot in regards to I just got laid off from a consulting gig that I had for a few years. And I've just been kind of in this really crazy, I wouldn't say fog, but something close to it, to where I'm what's the next move for me? You know what I mean? How do I, I've done really well with everything that I've done, whether it's radio, whether it's, obviously my DJ career, that's been flourishing no matter what. And I've been very fortunate that I can always fall back on that, but at some point the music's going to stop. Hey, how do I get to the next level? How do I level up? How do I make that next move? And I think I needed to hear that myself. It's hey, bet on yourself. I did that the whole entire time, and now I feel like I've finally reconnected with that. I mean, just through that moment itself is just yeah, you know what?
No,
I've been betting on myself for my whole life.
That's how you made it. That's how you got here, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't fucking betting on Ethereum.
No,
because you didn't. You fucked that up. It was.
I sure did, man.
It was betting on yourself. That's what got you here. And look, Casey Kasem went till he was fucking 117 years old. So you're fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine. And we're gonna have a great night tonight.
Right.
I told Mikey I wasn't gonna go out, but I think I need to go out now.
Now we need to go out.
Now I need to go out. Now I need to go out.
Right.
All right. So hey, what's any last words? Anything you want to tell the people? This is going up first thing in the morning. So
Look, man, if you want to have a good time, you want exclusive access to certain things, whether it be Vegas or wherever we go moving forward, buy a Kanpai Panda. I don't like to shill my product. I'm not a fan of it, but at the same time, I'm doing a disservice to my community if I'm not. But it's that simple. If you want exclusive access to high-end killer events like Pandamonium, like the Raiders Stadium, like the 1,000 things that we're going to be doing over the next couple of years, it's an easy buy. It's an easy buy. But do it with money that you don't necessarily need to lose. You know what I mean?
For sure. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
don't miss a meal.
Yeah, and definitely don't miss out on that 127 a coin opportunity.
Yeah. Don't be E-Rock.
I didn't touch upon this, but I wanted to. I don't know why I was just so moved by your words of inspiration just right now, but I didn't touch upon the inspiration behind the name.
Yeah.
Kanpai Panda, and how that all came together, because that was a great story that you told me off air.
Yeah.
I mean, Kanpai is the Japanese cheers.
Cheers.
Correct. So, well, I don't know. I don't want to be bad luck. But I mean, it's coffee, so it's not water.
There ain't such thing as luck. Kanpai. Yeah. So it's a Japanese word for cheers. So, is there anything more fitting than what we do? I mean, We've got the pandas, we've got the the NFT series, the artwork, all that stuff. It's all about a fun, lighthearted project with a much deeper rooted meaning and utility. And so Kanpai just really fit. We're here to party. I mean, honestly, look, I'm a dad with 3 kids and a wife, and I come out to Vegas and I blow it out for 3 days. If I get bored of this or get to a point in my life where I don't want to do this anymore, shoot me, just take me out back.
Well, I don't wish that. So.
No, we need to continue to have fun and cheers, Kanpai, whatever it may be. We need to have fun.
I love that.
You get old if you don't.
No, I know. No, absolutely. And you know, we are the Peter Pans of this shit. So
That's right.
Yeah. My guy.
My man.
Ice Bagz in the building. For more information, they can follow the Instagram, correct?
Yeah, Instagram, it's Kanpai, KANPAI _pandas.
All right.
Got it?
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
It's the Hot Box Podcast. It's Radio Basement. DJ E-Rock in the building. Yo, thank you for
My dog.
Thank you for pulling up for your first podcast.
First podcast ever.
I am very privileged and honored. So thank you so much.
So am
I appreciate you, man.
So am I.
Let's go.
Appreciate you.